Today, I want to do two things. First, I just got a new camera and I want to shoot a video during the return period in case I hate it. But second, and more importantly, I want to talk about the genius of the Mode 80 from Mode Designs. But Ian, it's a TKL from a company no one has ever heard of before 2020 and costs $500. Well, all companies were once companies no one had ever heard of before, and I'm here to say, I think it's worth $500. In fact, I'd even say it's worth $600, which is what I paid for my B-Stock first edition here. Before I get into this, I want to say, I'm not sponsored by Mode. The two Mode keyboards in this video were purchased by me, with my own money, and Mode did not know about this video's existence before release. So, why do I think this keyboard is genius and worth $600? Let me explain. Fundamentally, a keyboard case, chassis, kit, whatever you want to call it, needs to do one very important thing and everything else is gravy. That one thing is support the plate and PCB. Now there are seemingly limitless ways of doing that, commonly referred to as a keyboard's mounting style. That method can range from something as pedestrian as tray mount using screws to hard mount the plate or PCB to the bottom of the case, or something as unique as maglev or magnetic levitation boards that we're seeing being prototyped these days. While the options are seemingly endless, one style, or more broadly, one philosophy of styles, seems to be more popular than the others, that being the broadly named gasket mount. You could ask 5 random people what gasket mount means, and they'd probably all look at you funny. So you should probably ask 5 random keyboard enthusiasts instead of 5 random people. And if you asked 5 of those, you'd probably get 5 unique answers that all share a common thread. That being, the plate is not hard mounted and is likely pinched between 2 pieces of foam or rubber. Some people might also mention leaf springs or relief cuts being involved, like in Keycolt's designs, and some also qualify ROM's mute mount system, as the plate and PCB combo is suspended using a soft material, free to bounce and deflect under the typing force of the user's fingers. Again, the important part being, the plate and PCB are free and encouraged to move. The tricky thing with any mounting system is not only supporting the plate and PCB, but supporting them evenly. Ideally, you want each key to feel and sound like each other key, which is far harder than it sounds. Many mounting systems, including gasket mount, use the edges or even extensions of the edges of the plate to hold everything in place, meaning the center of the board will likely deflect more than the outer edges of the board. With stiffer plate materials, this can be mitigated as typing force will propagate out to the edges and be absorbed by the mounting system, but there will still be some level of inconsistency. In an ideal world, each key would have the same amount of mechanical support as every other key, but when you mount around the edges, there will just always be limitations to that goal. Enter the Mode 80. The Mode 80 uses a mounting method referred to as stack mount, wherein the PCB and plate sit on top of a piece of foam that gets compressed by the bottom case. No screws, no standoffs, just a single layer of foam. What you're left with is a plate and PCB assembly that is not rigidly attached to the case, and because of the even layer of foam in the bottom, each key has more or less the same amount of mechanical support as every other key. The boundary conditions around the edge of the keyboard will differ slightly, but for the center of mass of the keyboard, the typing experience is remarkably consistent. Now, I'm certainly not saying gasket mount, top mount, or even tray mount are inherently bad ways of mounting a keyboard. I own and enjoy keyboards with many different mounting styles, but I really appreciate the cleverness and simplicity of the stack mount system in the Mode 80. There's exactly one piece in the keyboard that is not the plate, switches, or PCB involved in the mounting system. Nothing more and nothing less than what is required to get the job done. But is just that worth $600? No, but it is worth a fair share of that price. Around the ingenious mounting system is an absolutely gorgeous case. It's milled in such a way that from the top and 3 of the 4 sides, it looks like a single monolithic piece, and only when you view it from the rear or bottom can you see the second piece. Might I add, especially on the Founders and First editions, it is a mighty fine looking second piece with that mirror finish. Part of achieving that monolithic look is starting with a really big piece of aluminum, which is not cheap. Machining that big piece of aluminum to be almost hollow, which isn't cheap. Doing it again for the bottom piece, and then evenly anodizing or polishing those large pieces of aluminum, which certainly is not cheap. As I said, my board here is a B-Stock from the first edition set, and I cannot figure out what in the world made it a B-Stock because it looks totally flawless to my examination. My only hunch is that the mirror coating on the bottom is not completely smooth, and having spoken to the Mode team since getting it, I know that that's the level of detail their inspections take. I really appreciate things that are clearly made with love and intention, movies like 2001: A Space Odyssey and Blade Runner. The Final Cut, I'm Not a Monster. TV shows like Mr. Robot and 5 of the 6 seasons of Community. Things where you can really just tell they were thought through and made by people who really care about them, and I got that same feeling from the Mode 80 before I'd ever even spoken to the team about it. From the unboxing experience with the message printed on the lid and the great case the 80 comes in, to the beautiful finish and design of the board, all the way down to the way those pieces fit together internally to make up that genius stack mount. That experience and level of detail is what is worth $600 in my opinion. I've got a couple configurations here to include in the sound tests in this video. All 3 use Gatoron Black Ink V2 switches lubed with Krytox 205 Grade 0, Krytox 1050 lube on the springs, and Desky's black switch films. All 3 configurations also use lubed Duroc V2 stabilizers and the same set of GMK white on black double shot ABS keycaps. In all 3 tests, the optional middle gasket will not be included, but the plate will be different in each test. The first will be the default aluminum plate, the second will be the optional FR4 plate, and the last one will be the Discord exclusive forged carbon fiber plate. I think I've gushed just about as much as someone can about a keyboard in one video, so I'll leave it at that. If you've got any questions, please ask me down in the comments. I love talking to everyone who watches my videos. If you want to get more involved with the Mode community, I've got a link to their Discord in the description as well. If you liked this video, please drop a like, and if you want to see more videos like this, consider subscribing. It's free and you can unsubscribe the moment you're bored of watching a guy talk about keyboards. Speaking of, if you want to see me build the white Mode 80 I showed in the sound tests, don't worry, it's for someone else. I don't need 2 of them. Although, you can find a link in the description to the build video I did. Thanks for watching.